Transatlantic cooperation on migration is rather thin institutionally. I've mentioned the intergovernmental consultations on migration, which bring together like-minded states from the North Atlantic region, as well as Australia and New Zealand. I think the current nature of cooperation on migration issues, while it is rather thin, is in a fruitful period of the development of what has been called mini-lateralism, mini-multilateralist efforts. And I would point to a couple of those. One is the Migrants in Countries in Crisis Initiative, or MICIC, which is co-chaired by the US and the Philippines. So it's not a transatlantic venue per se, but it is among efforts in which the European Union, the United States, and a number of other countries within Europe and beyond are trying to cooperate to improve the standards for taking care of migrants and third country nationals that are trapped in humanitarian crises. There's another example of mini-lateralism, which is called the Nansen Initiative, which began with voluntary action on the part of governments to come up with guidelines for protecting those who are displaced across borders by disasters and climate change. And I think these efforts will continue because they're voluntary and they do not commit states to specific actions. They could be criticized for not carrying the weight of international law, but at the present time, most experts agree that the world is not ready for new international covenants on migration. I think there is a danger, depending on how the election goes in the United States, that the US may withdraw from even the very limited forms of multilateral communication, standard setting that we've begun to see in recent years on migration and refugee-related issues. I think the hope is that there is recognition, as was made in the week that we're speaking at the United Nations, that the world needs to come together and do better by migrants and refugees. And I think regardless of what happens in the United States, I hope there is and remains a momentum toward developing global compacts, one on safe, orderly, and regular migration, and a second compact on refugees, which are to be developed and completed by 2018, when a major UN conference on those topics is planned for. So, depending on how multilateralist or isolationist a new US administration turns out to be, it could accelerate or impede the progress, I think, of those processes.